A proposed Texas GOP platform would solidify Texas as a Republican state. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today it is time to talk about the state of Texas because everyone, the state of Texas has been getting more Democrat in recent years, obviously. I mean, since 2004, it seems like every cycle, the state of Texas gets a little bit more Democrat. Now, to be clear, it doesn't mean it's going to be a Democrat state in 10 years, but many Republicans have been panicking for years that, hey, maybe the state of Texas will be a Democrat state down the line. Now, there might be some truth to this, but either way, it seems like Texas Republicans finally realize we cannot take this risk. We cannot risk the state of Texas turning Democrat. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Again, folks, all support is greatly appreciated, and yeah. Now let us get into it. Republican Party of Texas delegates voted Saturday on a platform that called for new laws to require the Bible to be taught in schools, and a constitutional amendment that would require statewide elected leaders to win the popular vote in a majority of Texas counties. And right off the bat, you can tell, Texas Republicans are not pissing around here. I mean, think about it. The very first thing they're proposing is, yeah, we're going to require the Bible to be taught in schools. Which, I don't see how that's a controversial opinion, but it is the year 2024. And you can't even have a Bible in schools anymore. I mean, it's just ridiculous, but either way, I think every student should be taught the Bible. Or at least the core tenets of it. I'm not saying you have to be forced into Christianity. No one's saying that. Because obviously that violates, the Constitution. You cannot force someone to become a Christian. No one's saying that. All Texas Republicans are saying here is, hey, maybe we should teach students in public schools about the largest religion in the world. I think that's common sense. No one's saying they have to become a Christian. No one is saying that. At least I would assume so. Because if they are requiring people to become a Christian, that's a separate ordeal. But it just seems like, hey, it just, you get taught the Bible. You get taught the core tenets of the Bible. I think that's common sense. I mean, in a country that's, 70% Christian? You would think you would be taught, again, no one has to force anyone to join, but you would think in the public schools in the country that's 70% Christian, you would learn at the bare minimum the Bible. I just think that's common sense. No one's saying that you have to become a Christian. No one is saying that, hey, you have to be a Christian to go to public schools. No one should support that. But at the same time, this just seems like common sense where, yeah, the country is 70% Christian. We should probably teach about it in schools. But ironically enough, this probably is the least controversial part of this platform. Yeah, because when you read more into what they're proposing, you begin to notice that, okay, this isn't a one-off occurrence of something super conservative. Nope. It actually becomes more conservative the more you read into it. But either way, you notice the second part of this paragraph. They want to require statewide elected leaders to win the popular vote in the majority of Texas counties. Yeah. Effectively, they're saying, if it doesn't matter if you win the popular vote statewide, if you can't win the majority of counties in Texas, there's like 250 of them, you cannot be elected as a governor, attorney general, whatever. And in my opinion, this is more impactful than the Bible stuff, which the Bible stuff, in my opinion, is significant because about time we actually talk about it in schools. But either way, the second part, if enacted, would kill any chances of Democrats ever winning Texas, at least at the statewide level. Because in this scenario that it passes, Democrats have to win the majority of counties in Texas. That's not going to happen. Because there's like 250 counties, and 200 of them have like 10 people in them. Take a guess how those 200 counties vote. Republican. So this is a win-win for Republicans because even if Texas flips blue at a statewide level, let's say somehow it does occur, under this proposal, they can't even win. They can win 55% of the vote, or hell, let's say 60%. and they would still lose the statewide office, whether it's the governorship, attorney general, whatever. Because they can't just rely on Houston and Dallas for all their votes. They actually have to campaign and win a bunch of smaller counties. And I think with how insane population density has gotten in some counties, I agree with this. I do agree with the idea that, okay, you can't just campaign in one city, tell the rest of the state to go F themselves, and call it a day. I disagree with that. I really do. New York City, for example, in New York. Yes, New York City is the largest city in New York, obviously. But at the same time, is it fair for New York City to dictate the policy of the state for voters in upstate New York, which is effectively a different state? Is that fair? I don't think so. And using the example of New York City, it's not even half of the statewide population. People think it is. It's not. That's a crazy thing about a state like New York. Even with it not being the majority of the population, you know damn well the city of New York dictates statewide politics. You can win like 80% of the vote everywhere else. But if you do bad in one city, just one city in particular, in the state of New York, you can't win. And that's why I think, yeah, we should implement this policy everywhere. You cannot just rely on one county, one city, whatever, to win every election. I agree with that. Now, could it be more proportional? Maybe. But it's a good starting point where, hey, you win the majority of the counties, you should be the next governor. Again, we just got to see how this goes. We got to see if this applies to the presidential race. Who knows? Other proposed planks, the 50-page platform included proclamations that abortion is not healthcare, it is homicide. That's a good starting point. Hey, the more you read into this, the more you realize, yeah, this is not just one issue or one or two issues that's really good. You just keep going. Gender transition treatment for children is child abuse. Again, common sense, but in the modern era, this is considered a conservative position. When, let's be real, just 10 years ago, this was the common sense position by everyone. No, you should probably not force your kid to transition. That's probably not a good idea. Calls reverse recent name changes to military bases and publicly honor the Southern heroes. And that's going to be a very controversial talking point. I can already tell, because you know damn well people are saying, oh, the Texas Republican Party is supporting traitors and the Confederates. Now, no one should defend the Confederacy, seceding, obviously, but at the same time, is it right to just completely ignore history? Just throw it out because racism bad? Is that a good idea? I personally don't think it's a good idea. Just for the simple fact that all you're doing by changing base names to tearing down statues, whatever, is you're opening up old wounds that for years we have at least supposedly dealt with. You're just opening up wounds that we had 200 years ago with the Civil War. Is that a good thing? To just bring back what happened in 1860? I don't think anyone thinks it's a good idea. Support for declaring gold and silver as legal tender, and demands of the U.S. government disclose all knowledge of UFOs. Now, the last one I think is kind of a meme. Like, okay, we get it, the UFO stuff, everyone wants to know, fine, whatever. But I'm actually surprised they say, hey, let's bring back the gold standard. At least that's what they're implying here, that they want to bring back the gold standard. Now, you can debate if that's a good idea or not, but let's just face it. The decision to get off the gold standard more than likely was a bad idea. I just think it was a bad idea. With historical context in mind, it was not the right decision. Now, it doesn't mean we can just go back on the gold standard tomorrow. I doubt it. But at the same time, I'm glad that at least a major Republican party, not just, the Wyoming GOP, is talking about this. Like, okay, let's look at possibly bringing back the gold standard, which worked for years. And we got off of it, and ever since then, there's been no net benefits of it. None. Can anyone tell me a single positive about getting off the gold standard? Anything? The party hopes to finalize its platform on Wednesday, after Saturday's vote on each proposal are tabulated. So there's a possibility that after all of this, they might bend the knee. Who knows? Could it happen? Maybe they could just bend the knee tomorrow, but I think as of now, they're not. And right now, they're not going to bend the knee on any of this stuff. It sounds like stuff that they really want to do. Like some of the stuff that a lot of conservatives have been pushing for years is finally starting to get mainstream. I mean, this stuff 10 years ago, none of this would have passed. Not a single one of these. Maybe one. One thing might have passed out of the entire list. Maybe. Outside of that, there's no way in hell any of this would have ever made it through. And that's a good thing that Republicans are finally realizing, hey, wait a minute. We have power. We control the Texas government. Let's use that to our advantage. We have the influence. We have the power. So let's actually do something. Let's not just sit here and let Democrats potentially take over the state. Let's completely change the election system for statewide leaders. So therefore, we will always have those seats, no matter what happens, unless Democrats magically win the majority of Texas counties, which I don't think they've done it since the 80s, maybe the 90s. Either way, this is a good platform. This is stuff that I like to see. Some of it's kind of a meme like the UFO stuff, but I'm glad we're finally seeing Republicans talk about, hey, the Bible should be taught in schools. It just should be. And stuff like this, the biggest positive of all of this is it might force Democrats in Texas to move. It happened with the abortion law. A bunch of Democrats fled the state. They went to Colorado. We might be seeing a bunch of more Democrats leaving Texas. So it's a win-win. We passed stuff that we should have passed 20 years ago, and at the same time, we're forcing Democrats more than likely to leave. Because Democrats are going to look at this and say to themselves, oh my goodness, this is fascism. We got to leave the fascist state of Texas. I know, that might sound crazy, but a lot of Democrats really believe that crap. You pass any of this, it's considered fascism or some nonsense like that. Like, yeah, I'm sure saying gender transition might be child abuse. I'm sure that's considered fascism, I guess. But what? That doesn't even make any sense. But either way, this is a good start. This is a start that we should have had 10, 20 years ago, but we're finally starting to get to that point of, okay, the statewide parties, at least major ones, not just random statewide parties like Montana, are finally waking up and realizing we have power. Let's actually use it to make our state a conservative state. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.